Yes, guys, totally enjoy the show. Da, 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 da. If you want to win the race of life, darling, you really gotta work hard. At things that can get you further, right? I mean, obviously, if you're working a job, you have to work very hard at the job. You have to please your boss. You have to very much perform. Very much, very, very much. Even if it's like a cashier job at like Tim Hortons or whatever, you have to perform well, right? Your boss won't like it, right? But if you don't, right? But when you're doing side hustles or things that are going to get you out of the situation that you're in, you can really focus on working hard because obviously that's going to get you further in life, right? Now, I believe salary and all those things are important because like, you need to get you to point A to point B. In order to get famous as a celebrity, you have to do really well at your job because if you don't, you're not going to keep it and then you're not going to do well, right? Even if they're hard on you, whatever, right? But to get to point A to point B, that you have to do, right? But they say, a lot of people will say salary is the way to end your dreams, all that, right? Because in essence, we don't want to be tied to a salary that's going to be like, because a lot of bosses, not to say, this is not really like a mean thing to say about bosses in general. My car salesman job is good, right? But a lot of bosses purposely like to mistreat their employees. They purposely like to be hard on employees to make them work harder. They purposely, and it's not necessarily like, and it's seen as part of the job, right? It's not necessarily like a thing where you can debate it really, or even question it, but it's seen as part of the job, right? Like people at work have to have productivity. They have to do amazing, right? If they don't, they're left aside or they're treated like garbage, right? By the managers, right? And even if you are working hard and doing the proper thing, your manager still can be rude, right? If you have a good job, it's different, but my job is pretty good. Like my job is the best it can get, right? I've been treated worse before at other jobs. Like this job, the car salesman job is a good job. Like I get treated well enough that I can enjoy it while I'm there. But I mean, sometimes you get treated badly, right, at these jobs, right? And you just have to recognize that that's just how it is, right? Because some bosses really like to make sure you feel small because they're like, well, if you feel small, then and it's not necessarily, it's just the way that some jobs work. Not necessarily all, right? But sometimes the boss just likes to be like belittling or demeaning or patronizing in general. I'm not saying that happens to every job or whatever, but a lot of jobs are like that where you are treated that way in general because the boss just needs to be, they need to know they're the boss, right? So in order to do that, they have to be belittling, patronizing, etc. But you have to still perform well. You have to still do a good job. You still have to perform exceptionally well. You have to be one of the top performers at your job. You have to be very, very good, right? But that happens because a lot of bosses are like, well, I got this job as a boss for that reason alone, right? When I was a worker, I was mistreated. So I'm going to mistreat other people when I'm working as a boss, right? And that's not every boss. Some bosses are exceptionally nice. Some bosses are really, really good. But there are times where a lot of bosses can be that way. Like the movie Horrible Bosses, right? You know how that is, right? But we all have bosses where we're like, where we're like, we want to be famous and rich so we can leave it behind, right? I might still stay at my car salesman job because I do like it. But we all want to be told that we all want that side hustle or something to take us away from it, or at least have the option to take us away from it because of the bad treatment we might be getting, right? But yes, so you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying every job, some jobs are exceptionally amazing. People get treated like gold, right? But the majority of jobs, like especially if you're doing a side hustle or you're doing something to get you out of the ruts, people might think that you're like someone to be rude to because they're like, well, you're doing well, you're going to be famous, we'll treat you badly while you're here, right? But anyway, totally enjoyed the show, guys. Bye now. Bye, bud.